Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kate. Oh, listening from work. How I need to be hearing y'all this morning. Oh, goodness, good morning. Oh, man. What a day yesterday. What a night last night. We had terrible, terrible winds all day yesterday. I actually did a little clip up on Instagram. I have my camera on a tripod and the camera is just doing this. The whole house was shaking. It was so windy last night and all day yesterday. And I had the camera pointed out the window and you can see the trees blowing. But also you could see the curtains inside the house and the little pull for my blinds. You could see them just dancing in the wind. It was so windy that if there was a little crack anywhere in this house, the wind was coming through. It was so cold. My goodness. Good morning, Pam. Good morning, Casey. Good morning, Lisa. So it was cold yesterday. And I was up here editing and doing things, and I just couldn't even hang anymore. I had to go down and crawl up under a blanket. And then I went out to feed the chickens, and oh my goodness, it was so cold out there. And I know that Lisa over at Yogi Hollow Farm, she's to the west of me a couple of states, and I know they got snow, so I think we're going to get some snow later today. Good morning, Denise. Did you hear we're getting snow? I heard we're getting snow. Boothang. Casey, good morning. Oh my goodness. So what do I want to talk about today? You know what's funny is I couldn't sleep last night because I had something tumbling around in my brain that will be coming up for later. And it's like, if I do this, is this going to work? My mind was just going. And good morning, Tamra. You're getting snow today too, Pam? Good morning, Major. The mountains to the east of us got snow the night before last, but was mostly gone by noon yesterday. I don't anticipate that our snow will last too long. Yes, Denise, yesterday was awful. Wasn't yesterday awful? I know I feel like I'm whining, but there's a difference, friends. Let me tell you, there's a difference. When it's just cold out, I do okay when it's just cold. But when that wind kicks up and it cuts through you like a knife, oh my gosh, yesterday was miserable. My chickens were miserable. The donkey was miserable. The pigs were miserable. I would open the door for the dogs to go outside and they're like, nope, not going to do it. Even Harley, who's blind, when you open the door, say, okay, go out and do your business. He's like, not going to happen. Good morning, Candid Explorer. Oh, everybody's getting a whole bunch of weather. Lisa says hers melted, but you guys had brutal windy conditions yesterday as well. Good morning, Heather Lynn. It was just so cold. You know, let me take a sip of nice warm coffee before it gets old. It's so cold that I didn't even get dressed to come on my live today. I'm still in my flannel jammies because I don't want to dress. I want to just be in my nice warm jammies. 30 and 37. I don't even know what my phone died and I've got it charging, so I can't even pull up the temp. Right now it says 38 and cloudy, and it is cloudy and it's very still out today. I'm thankful for that. But if you guys didn't get a chance to see it on Instagram or on Facebook, oh, I was waiting for some of my trees to drop, Lisa. I was even checking the corn crib to make sure the corn crib didn't blow over. But it was so cold the night before and last night. And if you didn't see this post on Instagram, I have to share it with you because it's the most precious thing. I posted in my blog, and this is one of the stories I'll have to share later. But I had posted in my blog several years ago that on Valentine's Day, I never did take a drink of my coffee, my brain. On Valentine's Day, several years ago, before we moved to Iowa, all of the ladies at work, they were getting chocolates and flowers, and nothing showed up for me. Nothing was delivered to me at work for my Valentine. And all the ladies were like, oh, that's awful. Your husband's awful. It's like, no. He very rarely buys me flowers because they just die in a few days. He is my Valentine 365. And he does special things for me all the time. And I actually wrote this blog post about me sitting down that day and just writing out a few things that he does for me on the regular. I don't need him to show me he loves me one day out of the year with flowers and chocolates. This man does wonderful things for me all throughout the year, every day. And so I compiled a list and I had written out this whole list of the things that this man does for me. And they're little things, but they mean so much. They mean so much. And, and then later in the week, when all of the ladies were, the chocolates were gone, the flowers were dead. And I was still sporting my beautiful, beautiful tattoo that he took me out. And I know some of you are not into tattoos, and that's okay. But hubby had, for Valentine's Day, had planned, he took me out a beautiful heart tattooed on my foot with the words in French because his mother is French. So he's of French lineage. And it says eternal love in French on my foot. It's still there. They don't have their flowers. But that little token of love is still there as a daily reminder that I have his eternal love. So who's laughing now? The temp's going to start getting better. Where's the lamb sauce? Don't think so, mods. Yeah. So, I had posted in this blog little things that he does for me all the time. And I'll tell you, when you stop and think and you look at your partner and you think of some of the things that they do, that they put you before them, those are the things that count. And one of the things that I had put in that story was something that I can't make up. It's an instinctive thing that if you take the time to notice, you really appreciate it. One of the things that I had put in my blog post was there have been a few instances in our lives together where we have come exceptionally close to being into what could potentially be life-threatening car accidents. And it takes split-second reaction. And the few times that we have been in those types of situations, it is instinctive to remove yourself from harm's way. So a lot of the time, and before I even tell you what happened, I'm sure you've heard like dear Abby, when she was talking about when she realized that her relationship with her daughter had switched, where she was not the protector anymore, but her daughter, they had gotten to that point where the daughter was now the protector as the mother got older. And she realized that because they were going to be in a situation and the daughter was driving and the daughter put her arm out to protect her mother as she slammed on the brakes. And as mothers, that's something we instinctively do with our children, right? We instinctively put our arm out to protect our child. Well, that had taken a switch for dear Abby, and her daughter, it was either Anne or Abby, her daughter had then done that, and she realized it was a switch. Okay, Lisa, drive safe. Wallet Jim. So the few times that Jim and I have been in a situation like that, if you're driving your car and there's going to be a possible accident, it is instinctive to turn to get yourself away from harm. Many people will turn so that the impact will hit the other side of the car because you want to get yourself away from harm as much as you can. The few times that we have been in a situation where we were potentially going to be in a head-on or a sideswipe collision, Jim always swerves to put himself in harm's way and to keep me out of harm's way. He's done it at least 3 times I can think of. And it's not like you have to think about it because it happens so fast, it's instinctual. And Papa Jim instinctively turns and puts himself in harm's way to protect me. And that was one of the things I put in my blog. Some ladies get flowers, some ladies get chocolates. I have a man who puts his life in front of mine to protect me. That is love. Alicia, your voice is wonderfully soothing. Oh, even when I'm talking about situations that are serious. Thank you. Thank you. So let me tell you what happened with why I'm talking about this story as I sip another lukewarm drink here. So, and I want to make sure you guys don't have any feedback, right? Because I think I'm using this microphone up here. I think it's on. Um, the other night when it was so terribly cold here in the house, the wind was just howling. And it wasn't last night, it was the night before. So we've had winds for over 24 hours. So they're so cold. Yes, I know, Major. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this is a trigger for you as well. We're going to move on to a different subject that's semi-related. Um, freezing cold. And I was in one of my other flannel jammies, and I was just chilled to the bone. And I've always run cold, and Papa Jim's always run a little warmer. But I just had a chill I couldn't shake. And my feet, ever since chemotherapy, my feet always feel like I'm standing in a bucket of cold ice water. It's because of the neuropathy from some nerve damage because of the chemo. And it's kind of gone up into my calves. My legs were just freezing, just freezing. And no matter what I did, I couldn't warm them. So I had crawled into bed, and Papa Jim and I have separate electric blankets. And I know some people are like, why do you do that? That doesn't sound like a harmonious marriage, separate blankets. You know, this is not the time of Desi and Lucy. But, you know, we have a king size bed. And when you have a king size heated blanket, if somebody rolls over and takes the blanket, you're on the short end on the other end. I'm the one who does that. So, and plus the king size electric blankets were so expensive when we wanted to re-up them this last year. But two twins made more sense. And he controls his temperature. I can choose my temperature. And I know that with the king size ones, they have dual controls and stuff. But anyways, I digress. So I had crawled into bed hoping to get warm. And as I'm going to sleep and I'm noticing my blankets just not getting warm. And usually Papa Jim will go in. He usually retires before I do, and he'll hit both blankets to turn them on. Mine just wasn't warm. And, you know, I'm cuddled up with the dog, and I'm trying to cuddle up with Papa Jim, who's cringing because my legs are so cold. And I was really, really, really tired. And I know I was drifting off to sleep when I kind of whined. I'm sure I was whining. My legs are so cold. My legs are so cold. And I remember him pushing one of the dogs into the crook of the back of my legs to warm up my legs a little bit. And he cuddled in a little bit and tried to warm me up. And I know I went to sleep even though I was cold. I was really, really tired. And I woke up in the morning because Papa Jim was up. He had his coffee. He was, you know, took care of the dogs and let the chickens out. And he was getting ready to go to work. He has his morning routine. And he came to give me a hug goodbye. And he does it every morning. And I treasure that so much that he just doesn't go to work. I always get a hug and a kiss good morning before he goes to work. And he leans over the bed and he's giving me a hug. And he says, "Are you warm enough?" And I was still kind of groggy and still half asleep because I'm not a morning person. And I realized when he said that, oh, I was so toasty warm. The blanket was nice and warm, and I was in this little cocoon of warmth, and felt so good. And I said, "Yes, I'm so warm. It feels so good to finally be warm because I was so cold when I went to bed." And I said, "Is my blanket working? You know, did you have to replug it in the wall? Why wasn't it warm last night?" And he says, "No, your controller is shot. I got up in the middle of the night and I unplugged my blanket." He unplugged the end of his controller from his blanket at the foot of the bed, and he plugged it into my blanket so that I could be warm. And so he sacrificed his own warmth, even though it was really, really cold, to make sure that I was warm. And I didn't even know he had done it. A lot to do that, especially with a split king bed. Yes. My mom has a condition where your fingers turn white, says Heather. Tanny and I have separate blankets because he wraps himself up like a caterpillar. It's normal, you reckon, huh? Good morning, Tanny. Good morning. I don't have a normal mug. Where's my usual mug? Oh, I don't know. I just grabbed this big red chicken. I love this big red chicken, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. I tease my friend when I call her in the mornings and say, guess what I got? And I'll just leave it at that. Um, so I have the view of if I'm cold and I don't sleep well, that's okay because I can take a nap during the day. I can cuddle up during the day with a book or some crochet and I can get warm and I can nap if I need to. But Papa Jim, he's the breadwinner. He's the one who goes out every day, even in these harsh winter conditions when we have them, or in the heat of the summer, and he works. And he doesn't work in a nice office building with temperature control. He works out in these elements. And he has what I consider to be a rather important job because people's lives depend on the job that he does. And that may be putting a lot of clout. And you might say, oh, come on, he's an automotive technician. Well, he's an automotive technician that works on people's brakes, who works on people's fuel injectors, works on things that their lives are in his hand. If he doesn't repair their vehicle appropriately and they're out on the road and there's a failure because of something that he didn't do because he didn't get a good night's sleep the night before, that's crucial. So for me, it's important that he has that good night's sleep. I'd rather be cold than have him not a good night's sleep. But he would rather me be comfortable and safe than worry about himself. So I went to bed last night, and sure enough, his blanket was plugged in again. His controller was plugged in. So I crawled into a nice warm bed, and he had his sweats on, and it was, even though it was frigidly cold, he was warm enough. Snug as a bug in a rug. That's it. So I was just so moved because, that's something that most people just don't have the selflessness to do, is to get up in the middle of the night when it's cold. And this is a 1902 farmhouse. We don't live in a new home that's all buttoned down all nice and tight. When the wind blows, the wind blows. And I'll tell you what part of the problem is usually the wind comes in from the west northwest. And we have a beautiful grove of trees on these 5 acres that protects us from that wind. It protects us from the wind so much that when we're in blizzard conditions, you can look outside and say, it's not that bad. I think I'm going to risk driving 3 miles to go to this place. And as soon as you clear that grove, it's whiteout conditions you can't see. And we've had to tell our son before, look, there's a no-tow ban out right now. If you go out in this weather, you're stuck and it's deadly. He's like, it doesn't look so bad. And he doesn't even make it to the corner before he's calling Papa Jim saying, I'm in the ditch. Well, now my son's life is at risk. And now Papa Jim's life is at risk because he's got to go grab him and put him in the truck and bring him back. The car stays in the ditch. But the wind the last couple days has not been from the northwest. It's been from the east and the southeast. And so we have no protection because we don't have a grove on that side of the house. And that wind has just been cutting through this house like a knife. I'm telling you. There are nights he sleeps on the couch because I'm flaring. And he has his delivery. Yeah, he has to do delivery. Yeah. 1840s and 1860s as a summer cottage. That's interesting, Heather Lynn. That's really nice to offer that up, Major. That's very nice of you. So, that was just something I wanted to touch on today because I just thought that was so special that, Papa Jim and I, we've been together for 40 plus years. And I'm going to talk about it. It's a hot topic. I'm going to talk about it. Good morning, Lynette. Let's talk about the elephant in everybody's room. And I hope I don't lose people because I'm not going to talk too much about this particular content as it is, but how it's related to what I want to say. Everybody's talking about the whole slap her around the world, right? And I think that marriage is in turmoil. There's a lot of work to be done there. And obviously all of those emotions came out. And, after 40 years, you do run the risk and the gambit of highs and lows in a relationship. And Papa Jim and I have been there. We've been there. We've had our highs, we've had our lows, we've had our struggles, and we do grow and we bond through those struggles, and things get stronger and stronger as we go. And it becomes a deeper kind of a relationship and love. And I wish I didn't have to go through the hard times that we'd had, but it does make it stronger. And I'm hoping that those two individuals, they've been through a lot. Keeping my opinions to myself, but man, I'm hoping they're able to do what they need to do for themselves individually first, and then as a couple. A guy who lived in Boston took his family out of the city for the summer. They came on a train and a trolley. Oh, how fun. That's a neat little place to stay, isn't it? I love that. But I've learned after everything that Papa Jim and I have been through that we don't have the puppy dog love anymore. We don't have the crush love, the giddiness, the Twitter-pated. We have a deeper, but we still do. We still do. Don't get me wrong. We still do. I still get excited when he comes home at the end of the day, and still takes my breath away. But there's that deeper understanding love that the hard times have pulled us through. One of which, him having to take care of me when I had cancer. That's not a delicate thing. I went through some really deep, personal, intimate things through all of my chemo and all of my sickness. That man was there. And it strengthened and deepened our relationship. Chris was asked to stop making those jokes before, and Chris is rumored to have been one of Jada's friends, so I can't blame Will. I can understand Will being upset. I can understand Jada being upset. I cannot understand someone in that situation allowing their emotions to take over and physically assault someone in that setting. In any setting, it shouldn't happen, but come on. You're better than that. You're better than that. And I posted yesterday, I understand now that there might be a cultural thing with it being an insult, but G.I. Jane was a strong, independent, intelligent, beautiful woman. And when I was bald, if somebody would have said, "Hey, G.I. Jane, you rocking it," I would have been proud. I wouldn't have seen it as an insult. But like I said, I don't want to get too deep into that. I just know that there's trouble there, and I'm hoping that they're able to work through that. And I just wanted to share that Papa Jim and I, we've had troubles. I mean, you don't make it 40 years all on roses and sunshine. We've had our highs and lows. Was this? I mean, the slap could have been a punch. That would have been even worse. But yeah, it was too far. It was too far. Heather Lynn says my parents' neighborhood in that time period was a resort area with a hotel. It's also near Asbury Grove, which was a Methodist campground with gingerbread cottages. Oh, how fun! How fun! So I know that there have been times where we could have fallen into those same pitfalls. I'm hoping they're able to fix that. But my point on that is the more you ride the roller coaster ride, you either choose to get off the ride or you learn to embrace the ride. And then once you get over the fear and the insecurities and the gut-wrenching times of that fearful ride, then you enjoy the ride and the ride becomes appreciated. So I'm at that stage. Papa Jim and I are at that stage where we've ridden the ride long enough with the highs and the lows that we're enjoying the ride. I hope that makes sense. So, having said that, I did share a bald picture of myself yesterday on Instagram and on Facebook, and I've shared them openly before. The only time I ever wore a wig, the only time, And this is where my thing is that family has plenty of money. If she's so concerned about how people view her with her head shaven, she can opt for wigs. They're there. She could get some beautiful ones. She's rocking that look. She has no need to feel insecure about it. What happened is a result of her own insecurities. And this is coming from somebody who's been bald as a woman. If you don't think I didn't have times where I would walk out in public and people look at you so strange, you have to overcome the insecurities. The only time I wore a wig, yeah, the definition of being a strong warrior. Okay, Danny, have a good day. The only time I wore a wig, the American Cancer Society was kind enough to give me a wig. It was a cute little wig. It was very flirty. I loved it. I got to try on 5 or 6 different wigs. I put them all out there to Facebook because I didn't have YouTube at the time. It's like, help me pick a wig. And I would model in all of the little wigs they gave me. I picked a really cute wig. And the only time I wore it, though, was when I went to go see my mother. My mother was in a care facility, long-term care facility. And as many of you know, because I had shared this before, my mother was legally blind. She could maybe make out a shape or a shadow here and there, but she was almost completely blind. And I knew if I showed up to see my mother and she reached to me for a hug and she felt there was no hair, she would know something's wrong. So I wore a wig solely to see my mother so that when she reached up and touched my face, she would feel hair. Because my mother, the reason, as I've shared with you before, my mother was legally blind in one eye when she was born. And then she had a brain aneurysm rupture behind her left eye. And when they clipped that aneurysm, it cost her optic nerve in her left eye. So she was almost completely blind. But what they told me at the Mayo Clinic, when they clipped that one brain and she had her subsequent CAT scans and everything, my mother had another aneurysm in the center of her brain that was inoperable. And they told us, 3 to 5 years, maybe 6 years until that ruptures. And so we always wanted to make sure that we never did things to upset my mother because we didn't want her to have a rise in her blood pressure and then subsequently have something happen to her. Good morning, Fine Dining. Yeah, I didn't want my mother to know what was happening to me because if my mother knew that I had cancer, I know it would have caused her great concern. And I didn't want that to be something detrimental to her health. So, and my mother was still with us 16 years instead of that initial 3, 5, 6 years. We had 16 more years. But, and sure enough, when I would go see my mother would, she would feel my face and the hair would be there. When my hair grew out and I had it really super short, she was like, oh, you cut your hair. So I didn't have to tell her what was going on. But I made it known with my entire family and the staff. My mother is to not get wind at all that I had this terrible diagnosis. My mother was to not know. And everybody did really, really good. I remember my brothers went to go see my mother one time. And one brother stupidly said, well, Alicia's doing really good after her last treatment. And the other brother kicked him. And my mother didn't hear what was said, but she heard one brother kick the other. And she's like, oh, now you boys be nice. She knew. Oh. So, but that's the only time I wore a wig. I probably should wear it when I come on these lives and I haven't taken the time to do my hair. It would look better. But I've been that woman who's been bald. I've been that woman who I know if I felt insecure in any situation, I could wear a wig. But I embraced it. And I think everybody's individual. I don't want to tell people what to do or impose any of my beliefs on anyone. But you know what? It's bad enough as it is having the whole journey going through cancer. Embrace what you can. Rock it. I'm not shaking you up. So I remember I'd had my first treatment And after my first treatment and feeling bad for a few days, I did have an appointment up at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. The Mayo Clinic was in charge of my case because my case required an additional level of knowledge from an oncology department. And I remember we drove up there the day before my appointment that next morning. And that night was when all my hair started falling out. Now, I had shaved my head. I'd shaved my head to just little nubbies, which I'll never do that again. I'll do it a different way next time. But my hair started falling out. I woke up from my appointment that day and like it was all, the little nubbies were all over my pillow. And it doesn't come out like it does in the movies where like, oh, somebody's hair falls out. Next thing they've got this beautiful bald head. No, you look like you've got mange. But I remember feeling just a little bit self-conscious about it, just a little bit, going, oh, this isn't what I expected. It's not the way it is in the movies. But when we went to our oncology appointment, I remember standing in line to check in. And down the walkway comes this woman. She must have been 5'10", no shoes, but she had heels on. So she had heels, really cool swanky jeans, cute top, bald as bald could be, and these big hoop earrings and beautifully impeccable makeup applied. And she was rocking that bald look. Everybody else had little wraps or scarves or wigs. Not this girl. I'd never seen so much confidence as she walked and just was strutting that bald head. And I thought, that right there, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be ashamed. I wore cute earrings. There were times I would put little things on if my head was cold. But I tried rocking that bald look, and I was proud of it. And, that year, let me make sure I can get caught up here. It's a hard thing, Alicia. Each person going through it, as you said, has to find their own way. Absolutely. You should wear a wig just to trip people and have fun. Right? One of these days I'll get my wig out and I'll show it to you. I should find the picture. I don't even have Facebook up to find it. I was going to say I should show you the picture of my wig. But let's see here. I bet you I can find it super quick right here. I thought it was a really cute wig. Some of the wigs that I modeled where people are like, oh, that's the one. I look back and I'm like, what did I do to you? What did I do to you to say that that was the wig I should get? Because I look back at it now, it's like, oh, I'm glad I didn't get that wig. That wig would have been atrocious. It would have been bad. Let's see here. Gosh, did I put my wig choices in this? Oh, look. Okay, this is at the Mayo Clinic, guys. This was the day I woke up. Look at that. That's the day I woke up and realized that all my hair was falling out. You can see how short I cut it. And it was all over the pillow, and I looked like I had mange. Oh, goodness. You want to talk about mange here? This is after we got back from the Mayo Clinic. I'll share it. Look at that. Look at that mangy head. You see how it's all in patches? It does not come out all beautiful the way it does in the movies. Let me assure you. Strength and beauty. Thank you. Good morning, Lisa Kalovi. But let me see if I can find my cute little wig. I don't even know if I've got it in this album. Maybe I didn't put it in this album. It was really a cute wig. I don't think I did. Oh, I did. All right. Here's my wig, guys. This is the wig I would wear when I would go see my mama. Isn't that a cute little wig? I don't think you could even tell it was a wig. I thought it was really cute. Yeah, it's nothing to be embarrassed about at all. So, although I did have times where I felt like Uncle Fester. I actually, for Halloween, when Halloween came around, I took some pictures with my hand on top of my head, pretended to be Uncle Fester because I thought that would be a funny look. But my husband's Christmas party was coming up for work while I was going through treatment. And I went to the store and I bought myself this beautiful dress. I had a couple of dresses to choose from. Really, I'd lost enough weight with the chemo that I was down a couple sizes. And I thought, oh, I'm going to pick out this beautiful, beautiful dress. And I picked out this dress and was getting ready for the party. And Papa Jim said, are you going to wear your wig? I said, no, I don't think I am. Now, there had been 2 other women at his work who had been going through their own issues and had lost their hair, and they never went without their wig. And he said, do you think that will be upsetting to them? And I said, this is my journey. If it's upsetting to them that I don't wear my wig, that says more about them than me. And I'm not doing this to upset them. I'm doing this because this is what I'm comfortable doing. I didn't want to wear my wig, so I didn't. But let's see. Aw, look, we match. Look at those 2 baldies in front of a Christmas tree. It's hard to see it with the iPad, I know. But I rocked my bald head to his Christmas party, and I wore it to more than one Christmas party. But I was always bald. I mean, you either embrace it or... Oh, look. Look at those 2 baldies. Some people said, well, at least you had a nicely shaped head. That's true, I did. Right. Do what you want to do. And yeah, that wig was great. I loved that little wig. But like I said, I'd only wear it when I would go see my mother. And I actually have pictures with my mom. And, she would reach up and hug me, and then the wig would be crooked. And so there were times I was like, and the wig wasn't going just right. Your journey, and that's what kept you going strong through a difficult time. Thank you, Major. I had known a couple of ladies who had gone through their own journey ahead of me. And I'm thankful that they came into my life because they were great examples for me to know how to handle it with grace, how to handle it with humor. It really kept me from going down that dark path. Oh, I have to show you my favorite. Let me show you my favorite wig. I had the one wig that I wore just when I would go see my mother. But I did have a wig that I wore for treatment one time, only one time. What's the best picture to show you? I don't know. We've got a couple. All right, I'll pull this one up. This is my Cabbage Patch wig that I crocheted. So I wore that to treatment one time. I ran around all day. Not just at the hospital. This is with my best friend, Debbie, while I'm getting my treatment. But I wore that, and I got my sock monkey with me that I crocheted. He was my Kimosaki, like Kimosabi. But I wore that. I wore that Cabbage Patch wig. I wore it out to lunch after I got done with my treatment. I wore it all around town. People were like, what are you doing? And then I would tell them I just got done with my chemotherapy treatment. And they're like, that's awesome. They thought it was so funny. So I loved it. You're quite fine. Don't worry. So I loved wearing that little Cabbage Patch hat, and it gets people talking. And you can either embrace things, and I don't know. Yeah, I saw so many people that went down the dark path at the treatment center, and then you can't go there. I think attitude says a lot. Attitude will take you whatever direction you choose to go. So enough about that. But I did want to share with you that it's all in how you approach it, people. And I'm gonna stop talking about that because I could go on forever. So this last week, home from the grocery store. Hello, Nisi. Welcome. Thank you, Tamra. I should have had them pulled up on Facebook so I could just share the page, and that way they would have come up a little clearer on. I've got one picture. I've got one picture where, oh gosh, I don't even know if I should take the time or just tell you. I finished treatment, and Papa Jim and I went to the hardware store, the big hardware store, and I saw a slipper tub that I'd been wanting for a long time, little ball clawfoot tub, and it was a slipper tub. And he says, I don't know, can you get in and out of that thing? I said, I don't know. So bald, in a dress, slipped my shoes off. We pulled the bathtub out into the center of the aisle, and I climbed into the bathtub and just laid back and relaxed. And people are like, this woman's lost her flipping mind. I'm like, yep, and I'm having a great time doing it. Positive attitude. Absolutely. Now, don't think there weren't days that I didn't, just for a second, allow myself to grieve or go down that hole or wonder. I journaled a lot, took care of a lot of things that even to this day that Papa Jim, I don't think even realizes I did. Like I did go down to my local funeral home, set everything up. It's not paid for, but I did set my wishes up just in case because my diagnosis was pretty grim. And I didn't want him to have to worry about that. You see where you put others in front? I was facing my own mortality, and yet I didn't want him to suffer. So I went to the funeral home and I filled out all the paperwork and let them know what my wishes were, what I'd like to have done, and have it all pre-planned. And I didn't tell him that, but I took the card that I got from the man who worked down there at the funeral home, and I took it to my brother. And I told my brother, put this in your wallet, and if something happens, you know that this has been taken care of and you can help walk Jim through that because I don't want him to have to deal with that. Yep, we're all human. Big DIY store. Jim's a proper man. And he bought me that tub, by the way. And it really helped me through some of the more painful times after chemo when I just wanted to soak in a nice warm. Yeah, it needed to be done anyhow. I put everything out there what I wanted done. FYI, just so you know, it's going to be a party here at the farm. Walking taco bar, music, laughter, dancing, and I want to be planted in the ground, ashes, with a lilac tree that will always remain here on the farm. That's what it is. Nothing fancy, no church service, no crying, no tears. If you guys have ever seen the movie Big Fish, I want it to be where everybody's standing around going, oh my word, do you remember the time she did this? Do you remember the time she did that? That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a big old party. Oh yes, all the wallets, all the stuff that Papa Jim has done for me. Setting that tub up. You know, he's had to move that tub more than once. He's had to move the washer and dryer more than once because I'm always changing my mind about things. But you know what he did he did it last Sunday, and I think I was talking about it before. It was one of the things I wanted to touch on during my coffee chat this morning. Yes, I want a party. I want a celebration. So I was telling you guys before that Lisa over at Yogi Hollow Farm is doing this really great Kratky water system for growing her plants inside. And I just really have not been in the mood at all for gardening yet. It's been too cold. It's been too blustery. Everybody's planting their seedling. And it's like, I'm not even there yet because it's just been so cold. But I don't know. I've been watching Lisa do this, and I've been watching it from afar. And I've been supporting her and watching her videos and saying, this is pretty cool. But then one day we were talking about it while we were recording for our podcast. And if you haven't seen the podcast or if you haven't listened to the podcast, Round the Hay Bale, check it out. We're getting better as we go. We're recording our second season right now, and that'll be coming out April 4th with season 2, episode 1. But we were talking about some of the things that she's doing, and it just sparked my interest. Oh my gosh, I need to do this. I need to grow some of these things inside like she's doing. She has a shorter growing season than I do, and she is being successful at growing some of her food inside using these methods that she's using. And she showed her setup. We were talking about her setup and everything. And it dawned on me that some time ago, like years ago, 5 years ago, we had been to an auction and we got this rolling stainless steel salad bar for $1. And it had been sitting down in Papa Jim's workshop, and he just had some work done in his workshop, so it got kicked outside, spent all winter outside. But I thought, man, I need to bring that in the house. And I was going to use it before. I was going to use it when we did our summer kitchen. I was going to use it as my little place to start my seedlings in the summer kitchen, and then there was just really no room for it. So it just never made it up there. But I had Papa Jim and the boys bring it up to the deck, and before I know it, all of the boys are talking about, well, you can do this and you can do that, and you can try this kind of hydroponics, and you can try this kind of growing, and you can use this medium. And whoosh, my mind was just blown. It's like I have so many options with this salad bar setup, right? A living salad bar in my kitchen. And so I just got so excited about it. And so for the last week plus, I have been getting my supplies, learning more about what method I'm going to do. Lisa is using the Kratky method. If you'd like to learn more about the Kratky method, go over to Yogi Hollow Farms and see what she's growing in her house. It is amazing. Very, very, very cool. But I'm doing something else. I'm going to do a floating salad bar. I'm going to use hydroponics with a pump that will aerate the roots. But Papa Jim and I, we've been spending the last week or so getting everything put together. It's in my kitchen. I'll give you a sneak peek. But I have videos out. If I show you the sneak peek, you still have to promise to watch the videos because it's going to be pretty dang awesome. But one thing I want to show you is it had this big opening where I'm keeping all of my supplies. And it had a stainless steel panel on it. And I don't know, it's flimsy. It kept falling off. There was something wrong with it, so I ditched it. And I figured, what am I going to do with this big gaping hole? I mean, I knew what I was going to do with this, not this big gaping hole, but in the salad bar, what am I going to do? And I had curtains left over from when we had our kitchen, which is now the master bedroom because poor Papa Jim's wallet. I got all kinds of stuff done. I'm trying to see if I have one where it's just, and I don't, but look what I did. So a no-sew method of, look, I put little curtains up for my salad bar yesterday. So you can see it's inside. We have a floating compressed foam mat with the holes cut out in it. And as soon as my seedlings are ready, they're going to go into the little neti cups. And I'm going to grow a salad bar right there in my kitchen. It is so cool. It is so cool. So that's what we've been working on this last week. I've got a couple of videos to show you guys how we're putting it together. If it's something that you're interested in learning about, I hope you will join us for that because I'm so excited. The seedlings are in their the seeds are in their little environment to sprout, to become seedlings. And I noticed this morning when I checked on them, I've got a couple that have come up. So in a few weeks, we will be transplanting all of our seedlings over into our floating salad bar, and we're going to start actually growing salad inside the house. I'm so excited. Best upcycling project, right? For $1? For $1, that salad bar I couldn't believe. And I was going to give it away. I was on the verge of putting it out there on Marketplace saying, does anybody want this? Because we need to get rid of it. And I'm so glad I didn't, because that little floating thing that I just showed you, I have space for 21 plants to grow in that space. And once we put our water in it, and we've already tested it to make sure that it is ship-shape sound, there's no leaking of any water in that compartment where the salad bar was set up at whatever restaurant it was at. And then we'll put our nutrient water in it. We'll add our air stones that will aerate everything. And then that little thing is just going to float on top. And as the water level goes down, they'll just stay right there in the water and they'll get aerated and hopefully the lettuce will grow. And I just have this grand thought, and I'm crossing my fingers that this is the way it will be, that I'll just be preparing dinner and I can turn around and pick some leaves off of the various lettuces I'm going to grow. There won't be any bugs. There won't be any grit because there's no soil, and I'll just be able to make myself a lovely salad and make a salad for Papa Jim and have dinner. I'm so excited. Sometimes, oh, I understand. Um, there's a side conversation going on that I'm going to let them keep that between themselves, and I'm glad that they're able to discuss that. But I'm so excited, and I was so excited. Papa Jim came home yesterday, and he goes, "Why is this tape measure out? And what have you been up to?" And it's like, "Oh, I've been doing stuff. I've been doing stuff." So not only was I able to get the curtains up, these no-sew curtains, because when I finished my therapy, my chemotherapy, my vision was blurred and still blurry. And so I couldn't see to thread my sewing machine anymore. Plus it was heavy for me to lift. And so I gave it to my daughter-in-law. So I don't have my sewing machine anymore, which I think I need to get a new one. Poor Papa Jim's wallet. He's going to be buying me a sewing machine here soon. Cause I've got plans, but I had these curtains and they were too long for the salad bar. So I folded them over, used little cafe rings, and got myself a really nice little expanding curtain rod. And voila, they're up there. I'm excited too, Grace and Fire. I'm so excited. And then I went to the dollar store, which is not $1 anymore. It's $1.25. But I went to the dollar store and they have those window clings. So, oh, that reminds me, I want to buy some different window clings for somewhere else. Squirrel. I've got these window clings. And I found one I thought is so great because I'm putting a lot of faith in this working. Reaching for my iPad again so I can make sure that I say this appropriately. So on the front of the salad bar down low, and you can kind of see in this picture, it's so bright, but like I've got the curtains right here, and then right here there's this big long expanse of stainless steel. And so it says now, because I've got these clings, it says faith. It does not make things easy. It makes them possible. And that is from Luke 1:37. So all across the front, I've got this beautiful scripture that I can just peel and stick anywhere I want. But I thought that just dressed that up real nice. It has the sneeze guard. And I'm going to go back to Dollar Tree because Ormsby Farm has me wanting to do an Easter craft with him. So I have to go back to the Dollar Tree to get some things. But I want to get the little chalkboard, little pieces of wood that are chalkboardy, and they're on little clips. And I want to clip them all along the sneeze guard so I can put on what kind of lettuce I'm growing. This row is Boston Bib, and this row is the Paris Cos, which is like a romaine lettuce. And pass your details on. Can you please get my email address off of one of the mods and I will talk to you? Major, I think probably the best way to do that is between you and Kate. If in your about section of your channel, in your about section, put your email, and people have to verify. They have to go through a process to make sure they're not a bot. And then Pure Pondering can get your email, or vice versa. If Pure Pondering has her email in her about, that way you guys can discuss this and be of support to each other if that's what you'd like to do. So that would be the way to do that, because I'm not in those tabs right now. So see if you guys can do that, because I think that would be the best way to set that up. So I'm excited about getting the lettuce started, and I've got the little babies. They're starting to sprout up. I'm so excited. But I tell you what started out to be an easy project for me, my son, he's so knowledgeable on some of these things because he's in the agriculture industry. And he's like, Mom, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I'm getting a little weepy because it's like it's more work than I wanted. But once you lay the groundwork, anything that's worth doing is worth doing well. And I have that tendency about me to just jump in feet first and do things and then just really hope it works. But my son is like, Mom, did you calibrate that pH meter that I told you to get? Well, no, I didn't have to. He goes, didn't you read the instructions? I said, oh, I saw there was instructions, but I didn't read it. It has to be calibrated. Gosh darn it. So, and Mom, did you check this? And Mom, you need to do that. And Mom, you need a better light. And it was like, I just want to throw crap in there and watch it grow. He goes, but it's not going to work that way. Well, it works in my garden. I mean, my garden out there, I've been growing out there in that garden for a couple of years, and I just throw crap in the dirt and it grows. He goes, but the dirt's different. The dirt's different. The dirt has different micronutrients and all these other things that you need to take into consideration. The dirt has a way of filtering out and making sure your pH is okay in your water. You're not dealing with dirt anymore. You're just dealing with water, and you have to make sure your water is where it needs to be. And it's like, I know you're right. You're right. You're right. I know you're right. My friend down in Tennessee, she and I talk every week, 3, 4, 5 times a week. And I'll say, now, Debbie, because now I'm just sounding like my son, Debbie, this, and this. And she's like, I know you're right. And the more we talk about things and stuff, we started making fun of some of the characters in When Harry Met Sally, and the character that was played by Carrie Fisher. Every time somebody points something out to her, and it's usually about the fact that she's seeing a married man and she needs to stop seeing this married man because it's never going to go anywhere. She's always hoping it's going to go somewhere, but it's never going to go anywhere. And when they point this out to her, she's like, you're right. I know you're right. And she says it all the time. And so now my friend and I are always back and forth. You're right. I know you're right. We do it all the time. I tried to find his channel, but couldn't. However, you can go to my channel and get my email from my About tab. There you go, Major. That Kate has put that out there for you. My coffee's cold by now, but I'm still going to sip on it. Something else I wanted to talk to you guys about that I'm excited about. I don't know if I shared this last week. I don't think I shared it this last week. But I had shared with you guys before about that app that I put on my phone for Be My Eyes. So excited about it, and I am still very excited about it. I went ahead, I did the research, I shared it with some of you. I did a video about it. I know that Grace and Fire was going to see about bringing that to the attention over at the VA where she frequents. And I was under the impression and the understanding that it may take up to a month before my first call came through. Well, I want to share with you guys, I got my first call within 24 hours. Within 24 hours, my phone was buzzing, and it's a push notification for those of you who are a little worried about it. It's a push notification. So I only gave them my email information when I signed up for this. I never gave them my phone number. So it comes through my email through my phone as a push notification. And so my phone was buzzing, and I clicked on it because like my first call came through in 24 hours. And when I clicked on it, it said, thank you so much for your willingness to help someone, but another volunteer already answered the call. So I missed it, but I'm excited that it came through. So I'm a little discouraged that I let my phone die in the middle of the night last night. So I've got it charging now in case a call comes through, because I'm really excited to use that. So I'm really happy with that app. I'm really looking forward to being of assistance to someone. I will admit I'm a little, I don't want to say apprehensive, because I'm excited and I'm there, but I am a little, guys, help me with the word I'm trying to find. I'm worried. I'm apprehensive. I don't know if that's it. Anxious, maybe? I'm a little anxious that when that call comes in, what if I can't help them with what they need? I really, really want to make sure that I'm of benefit, whoever calls. I'm really hoping that I can be of benefit to them. So I'm hoping, this is where the fear comes from, guys. I'm hoping that the phone doesn't buzz. And on the other end is a sight impaired or blind individual who needs my assistance with something technical, because they're done for. I'm not tech savvy, but that's kind of my worry is, what if they're trying to figure out something technical that I'm just going to be like, I don't know what to say. I'll be fine. I know, Pam, but it's funny, those little, it's not self-doubt. I know I'll be able to do this. Because it's kind of who I've been my whole life. I've got a servant's heart. I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. It's just kind of where I've always gone. And I know I'll be fine at this. I just want to make sure that I am of a benefit to someone. And so those little tiny little bits of self-doubt pop in. It's like, what if they need help with something that I can't help them with, and I have to refer them to another? I don't want to have to say, I'm going to have to hang up now and you're going to have to call back, and hopefully the next volunteer can help you with something. I'm hoping that's not the case. Goodbye, Lynette. Thank you for showing up. Thank you, Kate. I'm sure I'll be fine. Because I watched the video the other day of, I've watched several videos of people who have reported on this, and it gives me the forethought. And like I said, my mother was blind, so I've been able to help with quite a few things with her with that. But it gives me the forethought. Okay, make sure if somebody calls you with this particular thing that you've learned from this video that you watched, so you know how to help the next person a little better than that last one that I saw. So there's always something to improve on. But I know it's random, right? It's not A, B, C, D, or it's not 2 + 2 = 4. Every situation is going to be different. And so I'm going to have to make sure that I'm prepared to be unprepared, if that makes sense. So I am looking forward to that. So what else is going on here? Let's see. It's not windy today, but it's still rainy and cold. Oh, I know I wanted to tell you. Ooh, let me grab my laptop again, my little iPad, and see if I've got a picture. I do. I started doing something this week, and I know this is probably something that if Grace and Fire is not already doing it, she'll be interested in it. Anybody who has chickens will be interested in it. I've been thinking about this for some time, but I've never acted on it. This week I acted on it. Today will be the first day of me actually putting this into practice. And I think it's something that's easy enough that I'm going to be able to continue doing as the days and weeks go by. But look at this. Look. Look at that. You guys see that? Do you know what that is? This is fermented chicken food. I'm starting to ferment my chicken food. And the first thing Papa Jim said is, we're going to have a whole bunch of drunk chickens. Slow down there, Papa Jim. I'm not fermenting it to that state. So I'm going to be doing it in rotation of 3 days. So this one here, right here, this one here, this is just turkey mash and millet seed. And I added the water, and it's now been fermenting a full 3 days. It's going to go out to my chickens when I'm done with my live here. And I'm going to go to the Dollar Tree again. I'm going to get some Frisbees. So I will put little Frisbees out so that the chickens can just eat out of little Frisbees. And they'll get that first set. The second jar here, this one right here, that one is a little bit of cracked corn, some all flock, so it has a little higher protein, and some blueberries that were getting wrinkly. Wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. So I popped those in there, and a couple of dried eggshells. So that's fermenting. That will be fed to them tomorrow. And then the next day, I've got another one that's already started. It will be 3 days old by the time that comes around. Now, when I feed them this one here today, I'll rinse that jar out and I'll start it over again, and it'll go at the end of the line. So I will be having 3 jars on a rotating basis, so that every day my chicks will get a little bit, not my chicks, my hens will get a little bit of fermented feed. Oh, you've been thinking about doing that too, Kate? Yes. You know what? I hadn't done it because I thought it was going to be a lot of work and frustrating, and I got to stay on top of it. It's not. Every day when I make my coffee or I put my coffee cup into the sink, I've got a little plastic knife, and I just stir the first batch, rinse the knife off, stir the second batch, rinse the knife off, and then they're on rotation. I just stir them a couple times a day, always making sure that everything is underwater. And I tell you what, as full as these jars are, like this first jar right here, that was only like a half a cup of feed. And that I'm going to get a full quart of feed out of that. It swells up, it ferments, it introduces a lot of healthy probiotics into the chickens' diets. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to see how it works. I'm sure they're going to love it. From the research I've done, they love it. So I'm excited to do that. So I'm going to start fermenting on the daily for my chicks and see how they do. I'm really excited about going out with their little frisbees. I have a patio table out in their chicken yard, and to keep the pig out of it and to keep the turkeys out of it, I'm going to put my little frisbees up on top of my little wrought iron table that I have out there for them. It used to have an umbrella. They had their own little patio set and everything. And then we had, like, I'm doing a video on it right now. I think December 15th, 2021, we had, I believe in the state of Iowa, I think we had 61 tornadoes. It set a record. And one of those, we were very, very windy. We had tornadoes on each side of us, but we didn't have any directly where we are, but they were on each side of us as the storms passed through. And it picked up their umbrella and it threw their umbrella, and I still have to go get it. And it tore their umbrella, but they had a little table and their umbrella so they can get in the shade. And I was going to put their little chairs out there with little boxes so they could use them as nesting boxes in the daytime if they wanted to. And then I never got around to it. But their table is still there. So I'm going to put all their little frisbees out on the table, and the girls can flap there and they can have their fermented feed. Good morning, Doing Better with Mariah. Thanks for this info. Watching all these videos is building my confidence to actually get chickens. I have the coop, the feed, the shavings, pretty much everything except the hens. Well, wonderful, wonderful, Mariah. Jump into it. I will warn you, chicken math is a real thing. You're going to tell yourself, I'm just going to start with 6, and you will leave the store with 12. And then you'll be back to get some feed for them, and there will be a fresh batch of chicks. And you'll say, well, I don't need any, so I just have 12. And then you're going to come home with maybe 6 more. Or you'll do like I did this last year, because we've been building our flock for several years. We started 8 years ago. And of course, there's attrition. You do have some losses. And my girls, we don't call our chickens at all. All of my girls live their natural life here. And if their natural end comes because they didn't come back into the chicken coop at night, or a predator got them because we had a breach in security, or if they just reached their ripe old age and they went to sleep one night, I don't call my chickens. So I'm usually adding to my flock every few years. And this year, the little feed supply store had Plymouth. No, wait, I started with I can't remember what they're called. Sometimes things just fly right out of my brain. Welsumers. I started with Welsumers. And Welsumers are a beautiful little breed out of Holland. And they're just adorable. And so I started with 12 Welsumers. That's what they had at the feed store at that time. So I brought home 12 Welsumers, and I put them in my clawfoot tub. So see, it's dual purpose. That's what I really need to let Papa Jim know, is not only is it a beautiful tub that I get to soak in on occasion, but it is a makeshift chick hatchery, little brooder, so to speak there. A brooder. I put those 12 chickens in there. And when my chicks were starting to get to the point where I needed to move them out of the tub and into, I used a pack and play with some netting on the top so they wouldn't fly out. I moved them over there. I went to the store to go get something, and it's like, oh my gosh, they had the Plymouth Barred Rock. And I love Plymouth Barred Rock because they're black and white and they look like little zebras. And so I called Papa Jim and I said, they've got Plymouth Barred Rock. He goes, well, pick up 6. I said, are you sure? Because I already got 12. And we already had, I think we had 3 roosters and 4 hens. So my boys needed some more hens anyways. And so we had the 12. I said, we've already got 4, and now we've got 12. We've already got 16. He says, yeah, go ahead and pick up 6. I said, okay. He goes, as a matter of fact, pick up 12. Okay. I brought home 18. I brought home 18. Kate says, we hatched out 3 2 weeks ago and put more eggs in the incubator. Then Mom bought Micah 15 chicks and 2 ducks. It's real, right? They just keep adding. They just keep adding. I know that now we've really let our ducks decline in numbers naturally. Again, we don't call anything here. They live their natural lives here. But I know that at the time that I went through all of those medical issues, I think we had 19 ducks. We had 29 hens and 19 ducks, no chickens or anything, or no turkeys. Now I have 2 roosters, approximately 28 to 30 hens. I need to count them again because I free range and they're never where I can count all of them at one time. I have 7 guinea fowl 5 turkeys, plus the wild turkey. Phoebe, she comes in from the fields in the grove every day to hang out with the turkeys. But she's wild. She will not go into the coop with them. But we're going to be making some changes. But yes, Mariah, and everybody who's talking chickens, it's true. You will not just get 6. You can't help yourself. But I do. I did have somebody say very recently, somebody said they were looking forward to getting some chicks and some ducks, and I wanted to let them know. Just be aware that it is good coop practice, and it's one that I did not put in place, and I still don't have it in place. Just know that your chickens and your ducks, even though they get along just great, 99% of the time, your ducks don't know to stay with their own species, and they will get very aggressive with your hens for mating purposes, and it's brutal, and it can be very detrimental to your hens. So if you're going to get ducks and chickens, do your best to separate them. It's something that we need to put in place that I never had before, and I've known the risks of it this entire time. It's just we've not set our coop up to keep them separated because they free range out in the orchard. So, but we're going to be making some changes this week in our coop. Hello, Laura. I'm doing well. How are you? I know this is a topic that's kind of going around right now, and I'm just going to call it the bok flu. Bok flu is making its rounds. It was pretty prevalent in 2015. Yes, the ducks need water to swim in, and they do, and they tend to swim in the watering hole. So I always try to put they have their own pond, they have a pool, but the water for everybody to drink out of is heated, and they like the heated spa better than anything else. So we're going to be making some changes. I'm going to put some hardware cloth on top of the drinking water with just a space wide enough so the ducks could get in there, because they have to have water when they eat, and then the chickens can get it, but the ducks can't swim in it. So we'll be making that change in a hot minute this week, if the weather allows. But so we've got this little bit of bok flu going around again in our area, and it's something that I've been discussing with some of my chicken friends and one of my neighbors. And my neighbor actually stopped by the other day, and she says, I don't know, I heard rumors. And of course, none of us like rumors, but she wrote me yesterday and she confirmed, okay, I see white stars. I hate when that happens. Sorry. Every once in a while I get a lightheaded. I haven't eaten yet today. About 3 miles to the south of me and just a couple miles over, we have a very large egg production farm. And they have confirmed that one of their barns has been affected by this bok flu. So she sent me the info, and she said, hey, actually, this wasn't yesterday, it was a couple days ago. And it's confirmed that this particular very large poultry operation has it confirmed in one of their barns. And at first I was like, okay, I'm not too worried about it, because, as I said earlier, our wind normally comes from the northwest, and this place is to the southeast of us. So I'm not worried about anything blowing this way, but I do need to watch the wild birds and make sure that they don't get into our feed or anything. And sure enough, the last 2 days, everything's been blowing over from that farm. But I feel so bad because that one barn had 250,000 hens that all had to be euthanized this week because of this. So I know that we didn't have any issues the last time this rolled through here. I know that the county, there's a couple counties to the southwest of us where I think now just in our state over 7 million birds have been euthanized in the commercial poultry industry, and a couple of small hobby farms. So I know last time I was really worried about somebody from the DNR just showing up and saying, we need to check your flock, and then having them take my whole flock and euthanizing them. It's, as a chicken mama, I mean, that's a terrible thing to worry about. But I also want my chickens to live their best life. I don't want to coop them up. I want them to live their life, but I'm going to have to take some certain measures. So this weekend, if the weather is permitting, Papa Jim and I, we're going to take all of our panels, all of our fence panels, and we're going to be reconfiguring their run. We made a beautiful run for them last year so that we could just open the door of their coop and they had this beautiful run with their pool and their little patio table. But you know, it just broke my heart because our potbelly pig lives with our chickens. Sir Oreo Pigglesworth III. He is one of the coop kids, and he lives with all of the chickens and the turkeys and the guinea fowl. And he would just walk to the edge of the fence and he would just stare out at the orchard. And even though Papa Jim, again, Major, Papa Jim got his wallet out, and we would spend hundreds of dollars on all of these fence panels, right? And there's that poor pig just looking out at his favorite apple tree, which was too far away to really enclose into the fence panels we had. And I couldn't do it anymore. And so I went out there and I opened up the gate to let everybody back out into the orchard where they love to be. And everybody's happy. They all, he goes and sleeps under his favorite apple tree. All of the guineas are out getting all of the bugs, and the chickens are getting the bugs, and they run. And there's a breach in that back fence somewhere because the orchard is fenced itself. And now I've got all my chickens in the front yard. And I went somewhere the other day and I came home and I must have had 10 hens in my front yard just scratching through the grass that's coming up after winter and everything. And it just made me so happy. And I love coming home and finding all of my chickens in the front yard. When I open the door and I go out front, they all come running and they come up on the porch and they sit by me and they talk to me. And if I leave the front door open, they stand at the door and they think about coming in. I had a Betty the other day almost come all the way in, but she just thinks about it. But I love having them having this free life that they have here. And now, because of things being in such close proximity, I have to make that hard decision. Do I want to rein them in? Or am I going to continue and just hope that nothing happens here? Yes, Jim's wallet again. You're doing better, Laura. Good. That's good to know. Good to know. So, but I was going to change the layout of my pen anyways, my little chicken yard, because if you watch us on Saturdays, Papa Jim and I, we do our piñata stuffing where we spin a little wheel and we stuff our money in the piñata because we want to go on a trip this year. We've not really taken much of a trip off the farm except to see our children since we bought the farm. And so we're doing this fun thing where this carnival spinny wheel is selecting where we're going to go and everything. And if you guys missed it this last week, it selected Chicago by train, but that's not in the running. I know we haven't had that one come up enough unless it really picks up the last 12 weeks. Good morning, Gary Brown. Forging on. You're the blacksmith pop. Welcome in. You missed that too, having chickens run everywhere, Laura. I know. So I want to have something set up for my chickens that I can still open the gate and let them out into the orchard and not worry about them on days that I'm here. But when we go on this vacation, I'm going to have to impose some duties on my children or my grandchildren to, come over and take care of things here at the farm once or twice a day. And I know that that's asking a lot of them. So I want to rig up a system because it won't be cold like it is now. I don't have to worry about really closing that coop up to keep the warmth at nighttime. So I'm going to plan a system where I can keep the actual coop open so that they can come in and out as they want. But also I'm going to have a run that's covered. And so if they forget to come over at night, they don't have to worry about locking the chickens up. The chickens will be in a contained run. It'll have a top to it. And I want to make it big enough to where maybe during this time of this bok flu, I don't have to worry about them so much. But then on the days where I'm feeling a little too much of a sap, I'll open that gate and let them out into the orchard again. But I'll be working on this new chicken run. I'll be working on a new watering system for them to keep the ducks from swimming in the spa. And also, I was not going to plant cucumbers this year because I had such a plethora of prolific cucumber plants last year. I had so many cucumbers, I didn't even know what I was going to do. And I wasn't going to do them again. But just like I'm going to be fermenting my chicken feed to get a little bit more feed out of that, half cup is going to get me 4 cups of feed. I'm going to plant the cucumbers and I'm going to plant them on the edge so that they grow up and over this new chicken run. And the lower fruit, the chickens can jump up and eat. But then the higher fruit, I can just go in when I'm going to go collect eggs or go feed them. And I can just cut a few cucumbers and toss them to the chickens. And they'll enjoy them. And that will supplement their feed as well. So that's what we'll be doing this week. But you know what? I just got something new that came in the mail. I see the UPS man sometimes more than I see my husband because he's always ordering things. And all I have to do is say, I was thinking about this. And next thing I know, it's showing up. UPS or FedEx. And I showed Papa Jim something. I said, I really want to try something for our chickens out in our chicken run. And that's all I had to say. He ordered it. It's sitting downstairs right now. We just need to build it and get it out there. But now with these changes, I'm not sure if it's something that we're going to do right now, or maybe we'll wait a little bit until after this bok flu things passes. And then maybe I'll put it up. But it's so cool. I'm so excited. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to check in on the channel when I drop some of these videos to show you this new fun thing that I got. I'm so excited. And another thing I think I'm going to do is once our little piggy crosses over the rainbow bridge, I won't be getting any more little pigs, but then I'll be able to put in an automatic door that goes up and down, and that way the chickens can just come and go as that works. Saturday is Jim's wallet day. Please remember to be here. Yes, poor Jim. We spin that spinning wheel. The numbers are 1 through 50 on one spinning wheel and then 51 through 100 on the other spinning wheel. We spin both of them. Both of them have doubles on there. And whatever it spins, we take the money out of Papa Jim's wallet and we throw it into the piñata so we can go on vacation. So poor Major, he really feels for Jim. He's like, oh, poor Jim. Birds have been in lockdown here in the UK since November last year, which means there are no more free-range eggs this year. Yeah. I heard the bok flu was getting bad again. Is that what you have going on in the UK, Blue? And yes, that's what she's referred to, and that's what we've got here where I live as well. I was just sharing, I'm not sure if you were in here yet, Gary, when I said that a commercial farm just to the south of where I live just euthanized 250,000 hens on Sunday. And it's close enough where it has me a little concerned. But you know what? They had it the last time too in 2015. And it didn't affect us here on the farm. But I don't want to say nightmares. And I don't want to, this is not a fear-mongering thing. But as a chicken mama, it's a real thing. I really did worry about people showing up and just taking my whole flock. Because there were some places where they were doing that. If it was determined that you were at risk, or if they can say your bird has it, how do you know that it's true? How do you know that they're not just taking all of your animals and killing them? It makes me worried about that. I do worry about that. My chickens are not just chickens. My chickens are my babies. My chickens are, they're my coop kids. And I talk to them and I love them. And like I said, I don't cull them. They're spoiled. I love them. I don't want somebody to just come and take them. If that happens, I'm going to be a wreck. I will be an absolute wreck for days. So I do admit that worries me. It didn't happen last time, even though I was worried about it. So I'm feeling a little bit more confident this time. But I will tell you that, when my friend told me about what happened over here at this egg production plant that's to the south of us, I watched my chickens yesterday. Well, not yesterday. It was too windy. So it must have been Monday or Tuesday. Monday, because yesterday was so windy. I remember watching them thinking, I need to wrap things up again so that they just stay in the orchard and not let them in the front yard, because what if somebody's driving by? This is where the paranoia kicks in when you're a little small farmer like this. What if somebody drives by and starts reporting to the DNR, this farm on this road, they do have chickens and they're roaming in the front yard. And I don't want to be on somebody's radar. Where my chicken coop is and where my orchard is, it's back behind the house. So the average person driving down the road doesn't know they're there. But with my girls in the front yard, anybody driving by that works for the county or for the state or for the Department of Natural Resources can drive by and go, oh, write it down on their notepad. This farm has chickens. We're going to keep an eye on them. They have to be undercover, and different birds have to be in different pens where you're at, Pam. Hello, Mad Acre Farms. Welcome in. You have to report it here, and it is up to the vet to report it. It sucks entirely, and I have a friend who lost theirs, and they're gutted. Yeah, see? I don't want to be gutted that way because I'm an empath. I am an empath by nature. I always have been, and that will affect me terribly. I mean, I remember, gosh, it was just 3-4 years ago. There is an egg production farm a couple counties over from where I live. I don't know how far away it is. But I remember hearing on the news that they had a fire break out. And I think, I'm just talking off the top of my head here, I think they lost 7 barns, and each barn held 250,000 hens, and they all burned. And I remember just crying, thinking, oh my gosh. I hate that happened, first of all. I mean, but the massiveness of it and the loss of those sentient beings in mass like that just broke my heart. I cried and cried and cried. I just can't stand factory farming for that reason. You know, you have the occasional backyard hobby enthusiast that has their little chicken flock, and they make that unfortunate mistake of putting a heat lamp in with their chickens because they're afraid they're going to get cold, and then it catches on fire, and sometimes it's more than just the chickens they lose. I mean, that's heartbreaking. But this was just such a big, massive proportion. It just broke my heart. Oh, they had 3 sick birds. And, you know, I thought about it, Pam. If my birds get sick, what's the better way to go? Are they sick because of something else, or do you have the whole herd? You have the whole flock culled because you don't want them to suffer. I don't want them to suffer if they get sick either, but I can't do it. I won't be able to do it. When one of our twice for our pigs. I'm losing people. I'm talking about losing piggies and chickens. I could just see my numbers go down. I've had to have my boys come over. Matter of fact, you know, anytime there's anything, I have to have my boys or Papa Jim take care of it because I just can't take care of it. I just can't. And I remember crying one day because I went into the kitchen and I had forgotten to throw out my mop water. I had the mop bucket still full of water with the mop in it and everything. And there's this poor little mouse. I mean, I live on a farm. I'm surrounded by fields. It happens, you know, when the farmers till or they harvest, the mice go running and, you know, they'll run into the house here. And this little floaty little mouse. And I was just like, I'm so sorry, little guy. I'm so sorry you had to die this tragic death. And I'm crying. And everybody's like, what are you upset? It's a mouse. That's right. It's a mouse. It's still this little animal. And I was the cause of its death, and I hate that. Even when we set traps and stuff here in the house, I want live traps and then go take them out to the field and let them go. I want to build a few different pens, one specifically for silkies with a padlock. Last time I had silkies, someone stole all of them when you were at work. Oh my goodness, Kate, that's awful. That's awful. Oh, how heartbreaking. I'm so sorry to hear that. That is awful. You know, last year, we built a separate pen for our turkeys. And then I realized it's just not big enough. They got to be out. And so they're out. And I'm just going to make that little pen. I'm either going to take it down and reutilize those panels to do this other thing that I want to do. Or I'll just make it where we put all of our supplies or who knows what. But, you know, Papa Jim built a turkey house and all these little things. It's like, it needs to be bigger. It might be a good spot just for the guineas. If I put the guineas in there, I might do that. I might just have it for the guineas during the summer months. It'll be warm enough in the summer months, but in the winter, they're going to have to go back and have the warmth of the coop. It's really hard. It's why when we finally do get a property out of or of our own, Even though I'm a licensed butcher, I don't think I can do it anymore. I used to, but I really don't think I can now. I understand him. I grew up on ranches and farms. And like I said, I've been an empath my whole life. But I grew up on a farm where we processed our own animals. But I always left the farm on those days. That's not true. I did when I was younger. You know, you kind of go through that weird adolescent, uh, I want to say I went through like a tomboy stage where I was fine with helping my mom dress out the rabbits and some turkeys and chickens. It didn't bother me. But it didn't take long for me to revert back to being that empath. And when we would have butchering days at the farm, I would leave. I would leave. I wouldn't be there for the larger animals. I wouldn't even be there. I mean, I can distinctly remember the last time I processed a chicken, and I remember it just stuck with me. I can't do it anymore. So anything like that, as far as like taking care of the ones who have passed naturally, the boys have to handle it for me. Um, I know that my brother has come here a few times. He's been saying it since we got the farm, since I got chickens. He's like, don't be surprised if things get to the point where you might have to eat those chickens. And I'm adamant, I won't eat them. I won't eat them. I've got stuff put away that I'm not going to have to eat them. I worry about not having enough feed to feed them, which is why I'm really starting to take measures to stretch that feed out, because I've never worried about it before. Papa Jim's always been like, whatever you need to buy the chickens, you buy it, you feed them. They're having a really good life. Whatever you want to feed them, you feed them, and don't worry about the cost. And that's great. But now when you go in, it's like, oh, this feed is not available at the moment because they haven't gotten their shipment in. And when I was speaking to my neighbor down the road, she's like, you need to start planting some things to carry them through. Plant a big field of sunflowers, plant this, plant that, feed them the whole sunflower head. And so that's why I'm doing the cucumbers, because they do love the cucumbers. I'll grow them again, even though I swore last year if I saw another pickling cucumber, I was going to hurl. Yeah, I understand, Pam. I get it. I get it. It's something I can't do anymore either. But I love them. I have to say it's been a full year since we brought home my last 30 chicks. And I did go to the feed store the other day, and they had chicks. And I told myself, don't do it. Don't do it. Just keep walking. And I didn't. I went back there and looked at them, and I'm going, hello, little babies. And they're following, my nails are polished. So they were like following my nails back and forth. They were so interested. They were so adorable. Do I need more chickens? Did I want more chickens? Maybe. And so I started looking at what they had available, because there are a couple of breeds I really want. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to find out what they've got. I'm not going to get any chickens, but if they've got what I want, I might bring home some chickens. So I really want lavender Orpingtons. I think they're so beautiful. So I want lavender Orpingtons, and I really want some silver laced Wyandottes. They're so beautiful. So I asked the guy working there, I said, do you have silver laced Wyandottes? He's like, I don't know. So I went around to all the different pens and I looked at what their card said. And thankfully, no silver laced Wyandottes. And thankfully, no lavender Orpington. So I actually made it out of the feed store without any baby chicks, which was a miracle. It was a miracle. There are some companies that sell cover crop blends. They're specialized for chickens, and some are specialized for goats. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Wasn't this last year? It was the year before. Our local hardware store had all of their pumpkins for Halloween, and they had like the big white pumpkins and the blue pumpkins and all the different types of pumpkins. And they had a big crate, and they said, it's after Halloween, come get what you want. So we took the truck over, and I just loaded up that truck full of pumpkins. And every day I'd throw a pumpkin out to the chickens because it's good for them. It's a natural dewormer for them. But it got to where it's like, okay, they're getting soft and I shouldn't feed them to them. So I threw them out back behind the summer kitchen. And I thought, oh man, those seeds, I'm going to get all kinds of pumpkins growing this year. I didn't get one. I didn't get one plant with all those seeds. And it's because, I'm sure they were modified in some way, but I'd love to just have a big field of pumpkins that I can have for supplement as well. I want some Favorellas. And I agree on the lavender Orpingtons and the silver laced Wyandottes. Have you seen the blue laced red Wyandottes? I've seen pictures of the different Wyandottes, and they're all beautiful. But there's something about those silver laced Wyandottes, but I do know what you're talking about. And they're beautiful. I used to have autumn fruiting raspberries down one side of our bird pen, which they loved. I don't know if you were able to, probably not, because I don't think we knew each other then, Pam. But, I know this property pretty well. We've been here for 8 years. And there used to be a kind of a trash pile back behind one of the old outbuildings. And I know nothing grew back there because I've been back there all the time. I go back there all the time, especially when we first lived here, because I was clearing things out. My son was scrapping things and we were doing all kinds of stuff. And last year, Papa Jim comes in from going out to, we have a burn pile. We have a kind of a trash pile. And then we have our boneyard where when our animals pass, we cover them up with stuff back in the boneyard. And he had gone out to one of those piles and he comes back. He goes, there's something weird going on over there by that tool shed back there. And I know a lot of you think tool shed like a little shed that's in the back of a regular home. This is like, I don't know, it's probably 20 feet wide and 40 feet long, but it's all dilapidated and falling in and stuff. It adds character to the farm. And he says, there's something weird going on back there. He goes, there's stuff back there I've never seen before. I was like, really? And I go back there and there is probably a 40-foot long, 10-foot deep patch of brambles that were never there before. They were never there before. Now, they obviously must have been there 2 years because they have fruit on them. And I went and I identified it. I did some research because I thought they were blackberries, but they're black raspberries. So I've got this big, huge bramble of black raspberries now. And I thought about it this week. If I'm going to supplement some of their stuff, I'll ferment some of those blackberries with their stuff, or their black raspberries with some of their feed that I'm going to ferment. When I go out, my freezer's full of raspberries from last year because I went out every morning. I went out every morning with an ice cream bucket when the birds were singing and the sun had just come up. And I would just put on a hat and go out there and just pick raspberries. It was the most wonderful thing. And I plan on doing it again this year, but I don't have room for all those raspberries in my freezer. I didn't make nearly enough jam. So I'll go out and I'll pick some for us, and then I'll throw some to the chickens and they'll enjoy those. But I was thinking about how in the world did those get there? They were never there before. Yeah, you're with me on those pumpkins, right? This next year, I think I will actually rototill that area up back there where I'm talking, and I'll actually get some seeds, and I'll just get some heritage seeds, put them out there, see what grows, feed them the pumpkins, and then reseed some of the seed. I'm just hoping for a big natural pumpkin patch back there that will grow. In addition to wanting to take some of the canes from the raspberries, I want to build a trellis out there too and just have the raspberries on the trellis so I don't have to go all the way back behind that bin. But I think what happened, and I know I've said this before, I really think that there's a tree above where that pile of trash was, and we get the eagles landing back there every once in a while. They like to sit back there for on different occasions. Now they're right up against the house. They land in the walnut tree right in front of the house. But they like this one specific tree back there. And I think what happened is an eagle was back there and it probably ate something that got hit by a car that had just had some black raspberries, and then the seeds were digested and he pooped back there, and then the seeds germinated, and before you know it, I've got this big bramble of black raspberries. I was looking at prices for seeds for goji berries last night. I'm thinking they would be good along where I want to build the new chicken pens. Ooh, interesting, Kate. Let me know if you do that. That would be very interesting. I want to do blueberries this year, and I know they have to have a specific acidity to their soil, which, like I said, my son knows all these things, so I'll be talking to my son about what he thinks I need to do. But I saw a really interesting thing. Last year, I didn't get the seedlings. I didn't get the little seedlings the little bushes at the feed store, but I thought about it, but I should have because I do want to have a nice little row of blueberries. I love blueberries. So this year I think I'm going to go ahead and do the blueberries. Um, but I also saw, did you know that if you have blueberries in your fridge that you buy at the store and they're blueberries that were purchased in the United States, I'm speaking to my United States friends right now. Did you know if they're starting to wrinkle and you're not sure if you're going to eat them, did you know you can put them with some water in a blender and pulse blend it, strain out the pulp and the water, and at the very bottom there will be all of these tiny little blueberry seeds, and you can put them in a moist paper towel and start seedlings, and you can get your seedlings started for your own blueberry bushes that way. Now, the reason I say in the United States is because I don't know how things are over in the other countries, but if you're in the United States and your blueberries come from another country, and I did not know this, when those blueberries come in from other countries, they have to be radiated. Did you know that our fruit and veg go through a radiation process with low levels of radiation to kill off any fungus, disease, or bugs? And that kills the seeds. I did not know that until I did a little research on that this week. Baker Creek has red goji berries for $4 and black goji berry seeds for $6. I didn't know they had black. Interesting. I had not even thought about goji berries, but I do want to do blueberries. I've tried strawberries out here. I haven't had much success. I've got a friend in town that she does strawberries, and she has a great strawberry patch. She does really well. And there's a strawberry farm out here too. I might just go to the strawberry farm. But I don't think I'm going to pursue the strawberries because I don't do in-ground plantings. I do raised garden beds. I think that might have something to do with it, even though I did try one time in a straw bale garden. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do the strawberries. Now, the blueberries, when I get the blueberry plants, those will go in the ground. I just want to make sure I've got the proper light and the proper acidity. We are creating a berry patch this year and have goji as part of the plan. We have 4 of them already. Great info on the blueberry. Didn't know that. I did not know that either. I have a goji berry too. They are serious divas. Oh, now I'm really going to have to look into this, guys. You guys are whetting my appetite for goji berries. Where is out here, as in what region of the U.S. do you live? I am in the Midwest. I'm in the state of Iowa. So we get really, really, really cold winters. And because of my health history, I really don't like planting down on the ground. I like my raised garden beds. I did hugelkultur. I've done hugelkultur the last 2 years in raised bins. Had a lot of success with them this last year. We'll be doing it again this year. And I just did a soil sample, and my soil sample came back relatively good for having 2 years of using the hugelkultur. I'm really happy with how that went. And I love it because when I go out in the morning to feed the chickens, if I see a little worm, a little earthworm crawling along, I'll just pick them up and I toss them right into my hugelkultur so that they can be part of that ecosystem that's in there. Oh, we've had all 4 seasons just in the last week, Mariah. In the last week. I think not this Sunday, but the Sunday before it was sunny and in the 70s. And then 3 days later, we had snow. And then it warmed back up again, but not entirely. And now we've had rains, and we had sleet that was like styrofoam last Friday. I've never seen anything like it here. We literally had styrofoam balls floating all over the place, and it was sleet. But you know, sleet is usually very heavy and almost like little tiny little pellets of hail. This was just like styrofoam balls. I'd never seen it in the time that we've lived here. So we've had it all 4 seasons just in this last week. So I'm so looking forward to spring. I was perfectly content with winter this year. We did not have a very bad winter. I was perfectly fine with it. But boy, these winds and this cold has gotten to me this last week. But it's another reason why I'm so excited to start my indoor salad bar garden. And like I said, in the next few weeks, I'll be putting the videos up for that process of how we started that garden. And then I think in the next few weeks, I'll be able to actually film transplanting our little seedlings over into the floating garden. Yeah, I can't wait for real spring. I feel bad because it's been so cold and windy, and I know that, you know, we've seen the robins out, the robins been out, and it's usually like, okay, spring's here, the robins are here, and then everything's blowing, and I know their little nests are getting blown around, and I feel so bad for them. But it's really calm today. but it's foggy and it's cold. My legs are cold. But anyways, well, guys, does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? I'm going to probably wrap things up here in a little bit and get some breakfast because I got a little dizzy earlier. I've not checked my blood sugar yet this morning, but I think that was probably an indicator that I need to get something. I do have a little bit of creamer in here, so this will give me just a little bit, but I'm sure my sugar might be a little low this morning. But I will wrap things up, I think, and I'm going to go have some breakfast. I'm doing something fun. Wait, I got to tell you what I'm doing. With my chicken eggs, I'm getting so many eggs that I got this little, it's like a little pancake griddle, but it's little. It's like, I think it's 4 inches in circumference. And it's this new little line that's available at Wally World. And they have like a little dessert maker, a little waffle iron, and this little pancake maker. And I was seeing over at Roost and Rescue, they were using their eggs up by making these little things that are like little, like little egg McMuffin, little pancake, or a little egg, little scrambled egg things. And she was using her skillet, her little cast iron skillet, to make them. And I got a small skillet, but it's not quite that small. I went to look for one and they didn't have one at the store, but they had this little electrical one. And I thought, oh, that's cute. And by golly, it works perfect. 1 egg, scramble it up, pop it in there. It makes this little egg disc. And I've just been layering them in between parchment paper and freezing them. And then I take them out and I put them in baggies, and those are going in the freezer. And I tried one the other day. I took it out, I warmed it up, and I had a little English muffin. And oh my gosh, it was so good to make my own little egg McMuffin kind of thingies. So Jim's going to have a bar. Hide his wallet behind. He's always been so good. When I was working, there were so many families that were like, well, this is my money and this is his money. It's like, no, he's always been, this is our money. Whatever you need, I will get for you. But I made a whole bunch of those little egg McMuffin little sandwich patties. And then I also made a whole big bag of chaffles, which are low carbohydrate waffle shaped eggs with mozzarella cheese. They're so good. And so I've been trying to use up my eggs that way. I think I did 2 or 3 dozen eggs the other day, and I'm still sitting on 6 dozen eggs. Gotta go get so many more eggs to cook up, and the girls are being so prolific, and I'm giving them to my kids, and I'm, telling the family, come get eggs. We've got eggs. So my 30 chickens that I picked up last year are paying off because those girls are just laying like crazy. I've got more eggs than I know what to do with. And sometimes I'll scramble them up and feed them back to them. So that's good too, that I know I can do that if the food gets a little thin. I'll do a video on that. I've got a list of video things I need to do. I did do a video on the chaffles. So if you guys have not seen the chaffles, they are amazing. So I will just tell you real quick, if you did like just a regular waffle, just a regular little 4-inch waffle, it's like 19 carbs. But I can do 2 chaffles for 1.2 carbs, I think it was. And I was recently diagnosed diabetic, so I have to watch my carbs. So they're so good. And I use them for hamburger buns too. That's what we had last night. I took some of the chaffles that I made this week, took 2 of them out of the freezer for each of us. I put them in the toaster oven and heated them up. And then I melted cheese on top and I slapped a veggie burger in between. We had our hamburgers that way. Good. Yes, frittatas are good. Good stuff. All of those wonderful nutrient dense, rich, lovely, lovely eggs. I love them. All right, guys. Mad Acre Farm, thank you so much for popping in. I appreciate you being here. Major, you too. Chaffles. Yes, Pam. Go back and find my chaffle recipe. I did a recipe for chaffles with bananas and peanut butter filled inside. Oh, so good. And I can have a big filling breakfast for less carbs than what I would have if I just would have had a plain waffle. So good. Go check those out. They are yummy, yummy, yummy. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm not going to say goodbye to everybody in the chat because then I'd have to scroll through and see who's still here. But for everybody who showed up, I appreciate it. If you're watching on a replay, I'm glad you were able to stop in. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you pop them in the comments below when this video is all done and ready to accept comments and all that fun stuff. And tomorrow morning, Thursday, 9 a.m. Central, we will be doing our crochet along heirloom Afghan square number 5. And then on Saturday at 10 a.m. Central time, come join us. Papa Jim will be here, and we'll be here with Colonel Mustard for Team Weenie Watchers, and we have our investigator. If you guys don't know what that's about, it's about a murder mystery that we'll be attending coming up, and this is our investigator for the murder mystery, and this is our canine unit. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So that'll be on Saturday morning at 10. Okay, guys, much love to everybody. Take care, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.